Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And this week we've got some pretty cool stuff. In case you missed it, the first episode of Gundam Breaker Battlogue got released on Tuesday. Overall, I was really pleased with what we got. It totally got me hooked from the first minute, and even though it was only like 8 minutes 40 seconds, it felt like it was way shorter. Now that being said, they did manage to squeeze quite a bit of content into that short runtime. Like, I feel like I've seen many animes with like normal 24-minute episodes where way less happened. And included into that short runtime were also some nice references, like being used as a springboard. Other than that, I'm also totally digging the art style, and the animation was also really well done. Not bad at all for a Gunpla commercial. Of course, I will also have it linked down below, just in case you haven't seen it. Also, when I saw that old lady and a robot appear on screen, I couldn't help but be reminded of my life as a teenage robot. The second piece of big news then was the announcement trailer for Gundam Battle Operation Code Fairy. A game that seems to be a bit divisive amongst the fandom with its all-female cast that also definitely has the cutesy feel of many anime from the past decade. So I'm not surprised that I saw quite a few comments of people who would have preferred a much more serious game, both on the Japanese-speaking side and on the English-speaking side of the fandom. But honestly, here's how I feel about it. Having the more cutesy approach of Code Fairy, I would say, is a nice change of pace exactly from those more serious games like Gundam 0081, Target Inside, or, even Gundam Battle Operation 2 itself. Like, I would have totally played it if I either had a PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, or if the damn game came to Steam already. Like, that's something difficult to do. It's like they don't want our money or something. And talking about Battle Operation 2, from the title, it was already quite clear that this game was going to be based on it, and they now essentially confirmed it. It will indeed be using the same engine and just, straight up the same mobile suits. Even to the point that, even though they did confirm that the game is going to be standalone, there will be special features unlocked by pairing the save games of the two games together. New missions can be played in Code Fairy by completing special tasks in Battle Operation, and conversely, you can unlock new mobile suits for Battle Operation by finishing special missions in Code Fairy. Additionally, Code Fairy will also have a simulator mode, which will then be useful for training for Battle Operation 2. Then, the first part of the game is currently slated for a November 5th release, with the other installments releasing on November 11th and December the 3rd. And the game will be available as two editions. The standard edition for 6,600 yen, 60 US, and the deluxe edition for 8,470 yen, around 80 US. Of course, the US prices are an approximation because for some reason, even though the pre-orders are live for the Japanese PlayStation Network, I couldn't find them on either the Belgian or the American PlayStation networks. And also, just to confirm, that price is for all three installments. You don't have to pay $60 for part 1, then another $60 for part 2. It's just all in one. And because I can, here are 3 alternate titles for the game. My Zeon War Criminals Can Be This Cute, Girls und Zaku, Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Mobile Suit? And then to go along with the game, we also got 3 P-Bandai announcements for the mobile suits that will be appearing in the game. There is the really badass looking Black Rider, the I cannot decide if it's either really cool or super tacky with its crown, White Rider, and the Afreed Jaeger. For a mobile suit that is confirmed to only have a few units available, there sure are a lot of them running around recently. In shorter gaming news then, the Dahack from G-Recco will be joining Gundam Extreme vs. 2 Cross Boost, and if you have a Japanese Nintendo or PlayStation account, you can check out the trailer of Super Robot Wars 30. On to the figure news then. In March, we'll be getting the Gundam Converge +3 lineup for either 990 yen a piece or the whole set of 5 for 4,950 yen, around 45 US. And included in this lineup are the very configurable Atlas Gundam, the badass looking full armor Hyakushiki Kai, the Pallas Athene, the Hildolfer, and an expansion set. And then in that expansion set, we get parts for all 4 of the units. For the Atlas, it's extra arms for the sub-legs and the blade shield. For the Hyakushiki, it's the explosive bolts that now go over the knuckles. Then for the Pallas Athene, she gets her missiles, and the Hildolfer gets extra parts to transform into its mobile suit mode, or less tank mode. And of course, every figure also comes with a soda-flavored piece of gum, because of course. In April of next year then, we're getting a completely new figure series called the Mobility Joint Gundam. And as the name indicates, the big selling point of these 7 centimeter tall SD figures is that they have a lot of articulation, relatively speaking, for what these would normally have, of course. And they're also really well detailed. Included in this lineup is the RX-78-2 Gundam, which can be turned into the Perfect Gundam, the Zeong that can be turned into the Perfect Zeong, the regular Zaku that can be turned into a high mobility Zaku, and my favorite of the bunch, the Johnny Raiden's Zaku II that can then be transformed into the high mobility type R2. So I would definitely say that this is a pretty smart lineup to go for high mobility. Each set will be 649 yen each, or you can get a 10-pack to make sure you have all 8 of the sets for 6,490 yen, around 60 US. And if you want to have a good look at the figures, I will have the promotional video linked down below. Also, in case you were wondering, it is 649 yen for the base mobile suit, and then another 649 yen for the add-on pack. So that is 8 in total, not 4 that comes with everything. So next up we have the Gundam Exceed line, where we got the prototype for their SD Zaku. Fortunately, on the same day, we also got news on their Zeta Gundam heads. They confirmed that they are definitely getting released, they showed them in capsule form, and they also showed the completed ones. And although it doesn't seem like the release date is officially confirmed, I've seen a lot of websites list them as a December release, so, it seems fair to assume it's going to be a December release. And then finally, reservations started for the Realistic Model Series Mobile Suit Gundam G structure sets. For 6,380 yen, around 60 US, you can get G Structure number 1, Jawbro Underground. For 7,150 yen, 65 US, you can get G Structure 2, New York City Ruins. And for 7,480 yen, 70 US, you can get G Structure 3, The Last Shooting Area from Abawa Q. Every set also comes with additional waterslide decals and will be releasing in late April 2022. Also, they are of course made for 1/144th scale kits. As for the stuff you could get this week then, or well, to be specific, last week, because the only things released in these past 7 days were all released on Saturday, last week Saturday. So first up was the Robot Damashi Rick Dom Zwei version anime for a wallet jet stream attacking 8,250 yen, 75 US. So it is a good thing that we are getting a really nice looking bulky machine that also comes with a nice array of accessories. We've of course got a bazooka, a machine gun, 2 Sturmfaust, a heat saber that can be activated, and a bunch of different hands. Then from the Gundam base, you could get the clear colored real grade Zeong for 6,050 yen, 55 US, and the high grade Vargil for 2,750 yen, around 25 US, also clear color. Now the purple definitely makes for an interesting looking clear color, but as with many clear-colored versions, I wouldn't say that it necessarily looks better than the normal one. In other news then, at the end of October, the Gunpla Showroom Dubai will be appearing in the Dubai Mall for a limited time, and the designs for the Hathaway's Flash vinyl record and record player have been unveiled. It's a really cool and nice looking multicolored design for the main image, and then a much more subtle and classy design for the record player. Now, I still think it is somewhat overpriced, but at least it does look nice. And with that, it is already time to have a look at this week's Gundam Apparel. Although I might as well rename it to the Bankore segment this week around, because other than a campaign in Japan to win one of these two t-shirts from the Gundam X ASUS collaboration, it is all Bankore. We have a collaboration with the Gundam channel to bring us the following t-shirts for 3,300 yen, 30 US. There is a white Strike Gundam design with specs on the front and the Gundam itself on the back. There is a black Freedom Gundam t-shirt, again with specs in the front and the Gundam on the back. And then each faction also gets their own t-shirt. Zaft has the Freedoms and Justices OS on the back, whereas the Omni shirt has the Strike and Friends OS there. Pre-orders started on Wednesday, and they are currently scheduled for a December release, just like the absolutely amazing Garma Zabi collection. Just look at that design. Surely I cannot be the only one who had to spend more than a couple of seconds to realize what the hell was going on. At first I was like, what the fuck is that finger like pulling on? Is it trying to pull down the Z or something? But then I realized like, oh, it's from the anime where he's curling his hair. Okay, sure, fine. I'm sure you could have gone for something way better, but fine. Let's just do as the design says. Don't laugh because the men are watching. So instead of laughing, you can pre-order this zip-up hoodie for 7,700 yen, 70 US, this long sleeve t-shirt for 4,950 yen, 45 US, this reversible tote bag for 3,520 yen, 30 US, a blanket for 3,960 yen, 35 US, a cushion cover for 3,520 yen, a pouch for 1,650 yen, 15 US, a mirror for also 1,650 yen, and finally a mug for 2,420 yen, 20 US. Next up then, we have the Char Aznable Travel Collection, which will be releasing in March of next year. Perfect for when we get rid of a certain thing and can hopefully go to Japan again. For 33,000 yen, around 300 US, there is the Char Custom Carry-On that has a few internal compartments, all decorated with a very nice Char custom motif. And then for a mere 6,600 yen, 60 US, you can get this really nice looking Char custom bag that reminds me very much of those modern Japanese school bags. So this will probably allow you to run to school 3 times faster, preventing you from being late. And then finally on Wednesday, pre-orders started for the Gundam F91 acrylic logo display X, which goes for 1,650 yen, $15, and is currently scheduled for a December release. Over at the Gundam Café then, sales started for the Costume Collection 2021 Autumn Goods, meaning that for 990 yen, around 9 US, you can get the boys as an acrylic figure. For 385 yen, $3.50, you can get him as a magnet badge. For 495 yen, around $4.50, you can get him all together on a bigger magnet badge. And for 1,430 yen, a bit over 10 bucks, you can get them all on a smartphone stand. And to go along with all of those, you can consider getting one of the 2 newly announced snow globes. For 2,750 yen, around 25 US, you can either get Char Zagok popping out of the water, or a poor little ag guy that's hiding behind a rock. Pre-orders opened on Thursday, and quite appropriately, they'll be releasing in December. And talking about ag guys, they're also featured on the other new Gundam Café thing, a collaboration with Ramune, where an adorable rendition of the ag guy and Zaku II joined the regular mascots of the candy. I've never had it myself, but apparently it is really popular. Pre-orders opened on Wednesday, it is scheduled for November, and a box containing 30 packs of 4 gram will cost you 918 yen, about 9 US. And we're wrapping up this week's Gundam news with some polls over at Gundam.info. First up, let's quickly tackle the ongoing one, which is one of the most obvious polls I've seen in a while. With the upcoming release of the Metal Robot Damashi Wing Gundam Zero, they wanted to know who we see as the main pilot of the thing. I mean, come on. Obviously, in last place we have Duo and Chiroa with 12 points, closely led by Wu Fei with 15 points. Then there's somewhat of a battle for third place between Trant with 46 votes and Zex with 55 votes. I mean, at least I can see why you would consider them as being like memorable pilots of the Wing Zero. But then in a definitely deserved second place, we have Katra, the guy that eventually built it, and also made sure that it had one hell of an introduction. And then the obvious winner of the poll is Hero. Like, we don't even have to say anything about that. Just look at the intro, look at the promotional material, look at anything, and it's gonna be Hero with the Wing Zero. So quickly moving on to the results of one of the previous polls we tackled, our favorite design from Gundam Breaker Battlogue, an article that is very nicely timed with the release of the anime. The big winner with 30.8% of the votes was the Perfect Strike Freedom Gundam. A really nice looking Strike Gundam colored Strike Freedom that also has a very spiky and fitting redesign of the original 3 Striker packs. And most important of all, it all comes together quite well. Even though the colors of the sword and the launcher striker are a bit mismatched, they still manage to form a nice complete package that, you know, just feels right. And this design would also fit in perfectly with the normal Gundam Seed universe. Like, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this thing kick ass in Gundam Breaker Battlogue. And then in second place, beating out the Gundam 00 Command Quanta by only 0.1% is the Gundam Barbatauros with 22.4%. And to say that this thing is unique would be quite the understatement. The color scheme is badass, the design is edgy, both literally and figuratively, and Iron-Blooded Orphans is already very popular by itself, so I'm not surprised at all that this thing managed to fight its way into second place. So then in third place we got the Quanta, a unit that already managed to kick some serious ass in the first minutes of the anime, and then of course with its color scheme, armor and weapons, this thing totally looks like it's ready for anything. Then in fourth place with 11.3% of the votes, we have the Gundam Helios, followed by the Blazing Gundam with 7.3%. A unit for which I wonder if it would have placed higher if this poll happened after the anime. Because personally speaking, I was at first a bit more neutral about the thing, but now that I've seen it in action in the anime, I've definitely warmed up to the design. But regardless of that, in last place we have the poor Gundam Live Lands Heaven. And that has been all for this week's Gundam news. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.